Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Roger Paul, and tonight we're going to continue our study on personalities of somewhere. Personalities of the universe. Grand universe. Thank you, Rodney. I'm rattled. You can probably tell. I've had all kinds of issues with my computer tonight. If we make it through, have you got a picture over there?
My picture's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I'm having technical issues tonight. All kinds of them. Let's see if we can get through this.
Okay.
Let's say a quick prayer. Father, thank you for bringing us together. Thank you for letting me make it through the night, please. Watch over us. Help us open our hearts and minds that we might remember some of this and share it with others. We thank you for the opportunity to do this. We ask that you bless this meeting. We say this in your son, Michael, Jesus from Nazareth. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. This is, I got some interesting stuff to talk about tonight if I can get to it here. Well, bear with me. I lost everybody again. Everybody still out there? Okay.
Oh, yes.
All right.
Okay, I was lost, but a transit came by and I hitched a ride.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Hello, Jane. Hello, Letch. Hello, Gary. Hello, Pam. Rodney. Good to see everybody. Okay, we're going to take this up from where we ended off last time. And that was, we are on page 333, paragraph 102 on paper 30, section 1, and we're on 103, number 6, super personal beings. So if you will unmute for a minute, dear, and read that, I'd appreciate it.
Okay. 6. Superpersonal beings. There is a vast host of other than personal beings of divine origin and of manifold service in the universe of universes. Certain of these beings are resident on the paradise worlds of the sun. Others, like the superpersonal representatives of the eternal sun, are encountered elsewhere. They are for the most part unmentioned in these narratives, and it would be quite futile to attempt their description to personal creatures.
Okay, I don't know if you remember last time we were talking about personality and things like that, and how there's sometimes group collectives of beings and things. But this would be a good example of the other than personal beings. When they're in a group collective, they don't really have individual personalities. Some of them have group personalities, right? And they also talk about these other super personal representatives of the eternal sun that are found elsewhere out through the 7 super universes. All right, and they don't talk about them in this revelation, because we would have a hard time understanding even what they're talking about when they're talking about super personal beings. So basically, these are beings above regular personality that's instilled by God the Father. Okay, so these would be considered super personal beings, or beings above personality, or personality provided by other beings like the eternal sun or the infinite spirit. All right, so did I just confuse that even worse?
No.
No, I already was, so don't worry.
Tonight is a different kind of night.
Yeah, different kind of night. Okay, let's move on to unclassified and unrevealed orders of beings, because this is something kind of interesting I wanted to make sure I went over. Pam, would you take the next one? And
Yes.
let me raise it up so we can get all the people
Okay.
on the list here too. There we go. Okay.
Unclassified and unrevealed orders. During the present universe age, it would not be possible to place all beings, personal or otherwise, within classifications pertaining to the present universe age, nor have all such categories been revealed in these narratives. Hence, numerous orders have been omitted from these lists. Consider the following. The consummator of universe destiny, the qualified vicegerents
Gerents,
of the ultimate,
ultimate,
the unqualified supervisors of the supreme, the unrevealed creative agencies of the ancients of days, magiston of paradise, the unnamed reflector liaison of magiston, and the Midsonite orders of the local universe.
go ahead and read that next paragraph underneath that too, Pam, because it has to do
No
with that too.
special significance need attach to the listing of these orders together, except that none of them appear in the Paradise classification as revealed herein. These are the unclassified few. You have yet to learn of the unrevealed many.
Okay, so there's many classifications that they don't even reveal to us, but these are a list of some of the unclassified beings that does not appear in the Paradise registry. That's the point of this. Okay, and one of them I definitely want to mention and show y'all a couple slides on, and that's the consummator of universe destiny. Okay, and this is only mentioned 3 places in the book. Okay, and what's interesting about this is the consummators of universe destiny is in the chart I show y'all all the time, and this is part of this is the second level of Trinities. Okay, and it involves the supreme being, the ultimate, and then the consummator of universe destiny. The thing I want to point out about this is this being doesn't do his job until all 7 super universes are settled in light and life, and all 4 outer space levels are completely done. So that's a long time ago.
So he's in retirement.
No, he's active right now. That's what's confusing about this. He's active right now, but in God's mind, God has no time and space, right? I mean, to God, things just are. So to God the Father, all 7 super universes, as far as he's concerned, will be settled in light life. There's no doubt about it. Okay. And all 4 outer space levels will be finished. And so that's why this being exists. Okay. So to God the Father, this is a fact. You follow me?
Yeah.
Because to him, there is no time. All right. The other interesting part about this is the other 2-part places where this is mentioned in the book. Let me show you the second one here. See, this is what they call the second level of Trinities. This is where we see it on the chart I show y'all all the time. Okay. And the reason I have it inside this 3rd level of Trinities because this has to be done before the one inside the Absolute Trinity comes into existence. And when the Absolute Trinity comes into existence, then the Deity Absolute, the Unqualified Absolute, and the Universal Absolute comes into full existence as the 3rd level of Trinities. Okay, so this has to happen. There's no way around it. Okay, but the interesting part about this, and you can look back on this, you can find this under the index. It's got three references. The first one is they talk about the Trinity Absolute, and if you look at that reference, This is right out of the forward of the book when we studied the forward. Okay. And they call this the Absolute Trinity, or the Trinity Absolute. They use these interchangeably. Okay. But it says it's the second experiential Trinity. Okay. Because it has the God of experience, the supreme being, involved in it. It also has the eventuated ultimate being, which is the transcendental absolute deity, just like the finite deity on the left side. You see this? This says this is the finite deity, experiential finite deity. The one on the right side is the absolute deity, the transcendental. Remember how we talked about transcendental last time? You know, being in between the absolute and the finite. And so the Absolute Trinity, the consumers of universe destiny, has to be there to bring these two together to create the second experiential Trinity. All right, Jane. Yeah.
I think the only way I can comprehend it, at least partially, not fully,
Yeah.
I can look at the consummator of universe destiny, which the title itself, it says, you know, the completion, the totality, the completion. It's not the same, but I see this being doing the job as what the conjoint actor does between the first source and center and the eternal Son.
Yeah, it makes it complete.
If I'm looking at a Trinity.
Yeah, this is the completion being, if you think about it, right? Because the universes will never be complete without this consummator of universe destiny bringing it all together at the end. You follow me? Yeah,
Roger.
Rodney. Yeah.
In my mind, I can't see how this being would ever come into existence, because number one, no one knows if there's going to be another 3 rings yet.
That's true.
And do the 4 outer space belts.
That's
But
right.
lastly, what is going to happen if even everything out there is settled in light and life? That means it's the end, right?
No, it's just the beginning.
No.
It's just the beginning. Okay.
Of
Because
Rodney.
of eternity. Okay. In other words, when everything is settled in light and life, it's as close to perfection as everything will be, like paradise forever. Okay. So at that point, life begins in perfection, and not only the 7 super universes, but the 4 outer space levels, or however many outer space levels there's going to be. So if you think about it, it's not the end, it's the beginning, you know, because it's like a big circle, if you think about it, right?
Without a lot of suffering.
Without suffering. Experience, everyone will have experienced everything that they're supposed to have experienced, and so the universe will be settled in all the universes will be settled in life. So you can think of, at that point, all 7 super universes and all the outer space levels will all be living in utopia, perfection, right? Just like they do in paradise. It will mimic at that point paradise better than it does now. Now, see, the creator sons create their local universe trying to mimic paradise right now, right? They're trying to create them just like paradise. it's a long drawn out process to get the universes, local universes to that point. We have to reach light and life. And that's the closest to paradise we can get. So if you think about it, the outer space levels will be doing the same thing, and they will be mimicking paradise also. But when everything reaches light and life, everyone will be living in a perfect existence all the time, right? Won't be any barbarians anymore. Won't be any finite beings coming along killing each other and all that stuff, because all that will be past. Make sense? That's the goal anyway.
In other words, we will have eliminated the Mao to assume the Putins, etc., Hitler's.
All those will be gone. All that will be settled, right? Every one of them, every single one of them. It's hard for us to understand. You know, it's let me give you all a good example. We have talked about in our studies, we did, you know, about I don't remember how long it was, 6 or 8 week study on UFOs. Remember that? Remember when we did that? Think of it this way. These UFOs, or these beings from other planets, are coming and observing us. Okay. Why would we be of such interest? Because we are barbarians. We can't keep from killing each other. We're warlike. We are not, they are not a threat to us. We are a threat to them. Okay. Because if they come to the planet, what do we want to do?
Kill them.
We want to kill them. We want to dissect them, right? You can get on TV right now and watch any UFO. There's one out now called UFO Witness. And they talked about how they've gotten 10,000, Project Blue Book got 10,000 reports on UFOs. 10,000, more than 10,000. Okay. Not just a few, 10,000. They have report after report after report of crashed vehicles that have crashed on this planet. And what do? The military goes out. First thing they do is they try to dissect these beings, some of them while they're still alive. Okay, so what do you think that the universe thinks about us as being part of the universe? We're just a bunch of barbarians that want to dissect everything that lands on the planet. We don't want to be friends with them. They want to be friends with us, but we can't get over our barbarianism. Make sense? So that's what I'm talking about. We have to get over all of that before we can even take the first step into light and life. You think about it, right? So what do we have to do that? We have to change our attitude. We have to become brothers and sisters. We have to bring in what? The one thing that Jesus taught us: the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man. If we had the brotherhood of man, we wouldn't be out killing each other. We wouldn't have wars. We wouldn't have starvation. We wouldn't have all these problems in the world. We wouldn't have governments that want to control us. We wouldn't have shadow governments that want to control everybody in the government. We wouldn't have people starving to death, because there's plenty of resources on this planet to feed every single being on this planet indefinitely, right? There's plenty of power. There's plenty of things. We have more than we would ever need, but we're selfish and greedy, and we can't get over the selfishness and the greed. Okay, now I'm preaching again. But it's the truth. You know, the truth is the truth. And so for us to step into light and life, we have to get over these things. And how do we do that? We have to, as a society, make a decision that we won't put up with the garbage anymore. That's basically it. You know, when we get governments that are not doing the will of the people, we need to get rid of those governments. When we get countries that want to invade our space and take away our freedoms, we need to stop it, right? That's what defending your land is all about. We don't have to keep warring to do it. There's lots of ways to keep other people from stealing the resources of another country. Now, they talk about in the Urantia book, eventually we will have one world government, okay? And we will. But we're so far away from that, it's not going to happen in our lifetimes. And it's not going to happen in our children's lifetimes or their children's lifetimes or their children's children's lifetime, because we can't get rid of the greed, right? As long as we have money controlling government, it'll never happen. That's just the way it is. Boy, I'm preaching again. Let's get off this subject. Okay. So I wanted to bring out that point about the consumer of universe destiny. So to God the Father, he sees the big picture. He sees all this done already, right? And that's what this is about. And all these other beings, let's look at this, the qualified vicegerent of the ultimate. We know the ultimate's in the last phase too. So this is the being that's taking the place as the vicegerent or the controller for the ultimate right now. Okay, that's as easy as you can say it. All right, the unqualified supervisors of the Supreme. We know the Supreme's not in full fruition, don't we? Who's the vicegerent of the Supreme right now? Y'all know this. It's the seventh master spirit, right? Seventh super universe, okay? The unrevealed creative agencies of the ancients of days. Who would that include? People like the life carriers and beings like that work as the vicegerents of the ancients of days when they create life. Majeston of paradise, that controls all of reflectivity, right? And then that goes along with that is the unnamed reflector liaisons of Majeston. They don't tell us anything about them, that they're just there, right? And finally, this is a very interesting one, the Mid-Sinite orders of the local universes. Have y'all thought about this before? That there's Mid-Sinite beings in each of all the local universes. There's not just finite beings here. So that means if there's Mid-Sinite beings in each local universe, we have all three levels of beings in every single local universe. And what would those three levels be? That would be finite, Mid-Sinite, and spiritual, right? So all three levels are already here in each of the local universe. So when our universe gets settled in light and life, we already have the personnel for it. They're already there. Make sense?
So they're waiting for us to catch up.
They're waiting for us to catch up. So don't you think it disappoints these beings when they see us killing each other and are cruel to each other and doing all these things? You know, they just shake their head and think like we're like a bunch of little children that never learn. You know, that's what it's about. Yeah, Rodney.
Again, what is a Mid-Sinite order?
A Mid-Sinite order of being is between finite and absolute, right? Absolute being would be the types of beings that will eventually be in the outer space level. So the Mid-Sinite beings are those that occupy Havona right now. That's the type of beings that live in Havona as Mid-Sinite. But there's also Mid-Sinite orders of beings in each of the local universes, and they don't talk about those much. They don't tell us a whole lot about them, right? Probably because we would try to figure out who they are, where they are, and interfere with what they have to do. Right?
And why here?
Dissect them.
Huh?
We
Dissect them.
Dissect them, yeah. Can I ask you a
Yeah.
question?
Yeah.
On that, the consummate being,
Yes. Of universe destiny.
is there
Yes.
another way? Is there another title for that person? I'm having a hard time with the word consummate. To me, it's a consumer, a user of
Well, the way
Very
they're using it here, they give these beings names that we could sort of understand, Gary. That's what they're trying to do. So when they say consummator, what they're saying here is it's the being that at the very end that's going to bring everything together. So he consummates the whole process over time to bring it together to an end.
So it's the finaliter of universe destiny.
This yeah, you can think of him as a finaliter of universe destiny. He makes
Brings it all
everything come
together,
together,
ties
brings
the
it all together.
To,
Nice little package at the end. Yeah.
ships it out to God, say, hey,
Yep, it's done. Your plan is and it has worked. Now, what is the plan? It's the will of God. It's the will of God the Father, God the Son, and God in the infinite Spirit. All of this, all the 7 super universes and all the space level is nothing more than the will of the paradise deities. Think of it that way. If you think of it that way, you see why we could not have 7 super universes, outer space levels, or anything else without the eternal Son and without the infinite Spirit, because to bring all the parts together, you have all 3 of the actors, right? You have the will, which is God the Father. You have the word or the spiritual part, which is God the Son. And then you have the mind or the action part, which is the infinite Spirit, right? Can't have any of them by themselves. They have to be together, right? And it's their will that creates all this stuff. All right. So this is the fruition of the will of the paradise deities. That's what you can think about it. Think of it as, right? All right. Let's go on to the next one, 113. Rodney, would you take 113?
Yes. There are spirits, spirit entities, spirit presence, personal
Presences. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. There you go.
personal spirits, pre-personal spirits, superpersonal spirits, spirit existences, spirit personalities, but neither mortal language nor mortal intellect are pure mind. No entity has personality unless he is endowed with it by God, who is spirit. Any mind entity that is not associated with either spiritual or physical energy is not a personality. But in the same sense that there are spirit personalities who have mind, there are mind personalities who have spirit. Majeston and his associates are fairly good illustrations of mind-dominated beings. But there are better illustrations of this type of personality unknown to you. There are even whole unrevealed orders of such mind personalities, but they are always spirit associated. Certain other unrevealed creatures are what might be termed mindal and physical energy personalities. This type of being is non-responsive to spirit gravity, but is nonetheless a true personality, is within the Father's circuit.
And the Father's circuit there they're talking about is the personality circuit, right?
Right.
Okay. So let's think about what they're telling us here. There's so much information in this one paragraph, you could spend a week on it, but let's try to break it down here. They talk about the spirit entity, spirit presences, personal spirits, pre-personal spirits, superpersonal spirits, and other entities of God having to do with spirit, right? So every conceivable type of spirit being that the human mind could come up with is already in existence. Okay, that's their point here. There's not only just spirits, but there's entities of spirits. Okay, and then there's presences of spirit. In other words, there's spirits that are just a presence. They probably don't have physical beings, physical bodies, right? So if you could see them, they would probably look like fog to us, right? But they are a spirit presence. Then they have spirits that are pre-personal. In other words, spirit beings that have not been personalized by God the Father. What would be an example of that?
Thought adjuster.
The thought adjuster, perfect one, Fletch. A thought adjuster, right? It's a pre-personal spirit or being, right?
That's
And then you
right.
have, you think about it. So then they have the super personal spirits. What kind of super personal spirits you think they are? These are spirits that are on a higher level, that have specific functions, that are close to deity or may even be deity, that are not like everyone else, right? Super personal spirits. And then they have spirit existences, spirits that just exist by the will of God himself, that he's brought into existence for certain purposes. Okay. And then you have spirit personalities. What kind of beings would be a spirit personality? How about us, right? We turn into spirit personalities, right? When we fuse with the adjuster, right?
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind here, it talks about there are no pure mind beings. There aren't any beings that are floating around out there that come from pure mind. And what circuit would that be? That would be of the infinite spirit, right?
Right.
Okay, so that means if that's the case, all the guardian angels, all the support people from the infinite spirit, those are what type of beings? Those are spirits also, right? A different type of spirit. Make sense? They're not just mind beings that's floating around.
Mhm.
Okay. And then there's also mind entities that have either a spiritual presence or a physical energy system that does not have personality. Now, what kind of beings do you think those could be? How about some of the electronic controllers? They're mechanical controllers and beings like that, right? That do things automatically. They don't have to have personality. They just function, right? They have a job and they function. They do the same function over and over and over. And it's probably good that they don't have personality, because don't you think they would get pretty bored with that over time?
Yeah.
So that's why they don't get bored. They don't have a personality. All right. And then there's other types of beings that are spirit personalities, but that lean more towards mind type beings. And what type of beings would that be? That would be Majeston and all the reflective spirits, right? And these come from whom? The infinite spirits. So they're going to err more on the mind side rather than the spirit side. Makes sense? Because they're created by the infinite spirit and they're connected into the mind spirit. And then they tell us that there's all sorts of unrevealed orders and mind personalities and spirit personalities they don't even talk about. They don't tell us about, right? There's too many of them. All right. And then they have something else that says unrevealed creatures that they might be termed mindal and physical energy personalities that probably do not have souls, number one, and they wouldn't have personality. They're just beings that do a function, are created for that function, are happy doing that function, and they will never do anything else. Wouldn't you think the gardeners and the people that make the food and take out the garbage and all that stuff would be those kind of beings? Right? All right. And then it goes on to tell us these types of beings are non-responsive to the spirit gravity circuit. Why would that be? Because they won't be pulled by the spirit gravity to do what? Ascend to paradise. They never will, right? So they have no pull to do that. Make sense? And then they say, and some of them, even though they're like that, still have a true personality, even though they're not responsive to the spirit gravity circuit. So there's all types of combinations of beings. All right. And that's this last paragraph wraps it up. Jane, would you take that last paragraph? Turn your mic back on, Jane.
These papers cannot even begin to exhaust the story of the living creatures, creators, eventuators, and still otherwise existent beings who live and worship and serve in the swarming universes of time and in the central universe of eternity. You mortals are persons, hence we can describe beings who are personalized. But how could an epsonized being ever be explained to you?
So an epsonized beings apparently is not personalized, right? Epsinity is totally different, right? Total different type of being. So they don't even try to explain it to us. All right, so that ends all the beings of the Paradise Personality Register, believe it or not. Okay, and remember, there's hundreds of thousands of other types of beings they don't tell us about. Okay, now we're going to go through the Uversa Personality Register, but I'm going to warn you, all of these beings have already been mentioned in the Paradise one. All right, so we're going to go through this fairly fast. And you're going to notice as we go through this, all of these, almost every one of these beings, it has a yellow highlight. You see where I'm writing over that and it turns red?
Mm-hmm.
Any of these beings, you can click on that and it's going to take you to the index and show you where the links are to look up any being, just about. Okay, so you can cross-reference almost anything. Okay, so we're going to do a lot of list reading to get through this. It's going to be very exciting, I can tell. So Lech, would you take the first list? Yeah, Rodney.
What's this paper called?
This is the Uversa Personality Register, and the paper is called The Personalities of the Grand Universe. Okay. Okay. And it goes through the personalities of the Paradise. It goes through the personalities of Uversa, which is the 7 super universes. And then it also has 2 other sections. One of them is the courtesy colonies, if I can find it down here. The courtesy colonies, you see that, which is the exceptions. And there's another exception. It's the ascending mortals, because that's us, right? So that's the other section. All right, and it's going to go through the different types of mortals and how we can be ascending survivors and that sort of thing. So let's try to get through some of this list tonight. We're going to go through this very fast. I might highlight just a few little things, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because y'all can read this just like I did. And you can look up any of these. We've covered everything in this list now, pretty much. Okay. The ones we have not covered are the ones of the local universe, which we will cover in the next section of the book, right? Okay, so here we go. Lech, would you take the first sentence and the first 7 there?
Sure. The divine family of living beings is registered on Uversa in 7 grand divisions. Number 1, the paradise deities. Number 2, the supreme spirits. Number 3, the Trinity origin beings. Number 4, the sons of God. Number 5, personalities of the infinite spirit. 6, the universe power directors. And 7, the core of permanent citizenship.
Okay, so these are the beings that's registered, the highest beings that are registered on Uversa, okay, which includes the paradise deities. We know what that is: God the Father, God the Son, God the Spirit, right? The supreme spirits. Remember the 7 supreme spirits that live on satellites that go around paradise, right? Then there's the Trinity origin beings, right? Those that are Trinitized sons of God, or Trinity origin sons of God, and the Trinitized sons of God, right? And then you have the regular sons of God, which include the Michaels, the Daniels, and the Avonals, right? That would be the Michaels, the Magisterial, and the Trinity teacher sons, right? And then we have the personalities of the infinite spirit. Who would the personalities of the infinite spirit include? That would include the 7 master spirits, the 7 supreme executives. That would include Majeston, the whole core underneath them, right? And all the personalities associated with the infinite spirit all the way down through the angels, right? All the angels. And then we have the universe power directors. We just studied those last paper, right? We saw the whole hierarchy of those. And then last but not least, the core of permanent citizenship, which would be the paradise citizens, right? And the Uversa citizens, which would include the what? The Absonite beings, right? Okay. All right.
What about midwayers?
The midwayers is included in that too. That's part of the core of the permanent citizenship, right? They actually are listed under the core of the permanent citizenship, and they're also listed under the angelic cord, even though they become ascending sons of God later on. Okay, they're considered permanent on a planet until the planet reaches light and life, and then they're released for the ascension plan, right? Given adjusters just like we do, and then they go on through the paradise ascent. All right, Gary, would you take the next sentence or paragraph, please?
These groups of will creatures are divided into numerous classes and minor subdivisions. The presentation of this classification of the personalities of the grand universe is, however, chiefly concerned in setting forth these orders of intelligent beings who have been revealed in this narrative, most of whom will be encountered in the ascendal experience of the mortals of time on their progressive climb to paradise. The following listings make no mention of vast orders of universe beings who carry forward their work apart from the mortal ascension scheme.
So most all of these groups have something to do with the mortal ascension scheme, right? Because there's just too numerous of the ones that aren't. Okay, so let's start at the top again with the paradise deities. And Diane, would you take those 3?
1, the paradise deities. 1, the universal Father. 2, the eternal Son. 3, the infinite Spirit.
Okay, and we know we've been studying all about those. I don't think there's any reason for me to mention anything there. The next one, Pam, would you take the next list, the supreme spirits?
Supreme spirits, the 7 master spirits, the 7 supreme executives, the 7 groups of reflective spirits, the reflective image aids, the 7 spirits of the circuits, local universe creative spirits, adjutant mind spirits,
Okay, I lost my sound. Did she get through all of that?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Let me see if it switches back here for me. Somebody say something out there so I can see if my.
The Trinity origin beings.
Okay, I got it, Rodney. All right. The supreme spirits. We talked about the master spirits. We talked about supreme spirits, the reflective, the image Ave, the seven spirits of the circuits. Remember the circuits, the Havona circuits. That's what they're talking about there, right? The local universe creative spirits, which is the creative mother spirits, right? And the adjutant mind spirits, which are under the creative mother spirit, right? Now, y'all ought to have a pretty decent basic understanding of all these beings that we're reading. And if not, it'd be a good idea to go back and just kind of review them. All right. Now, the Trinity origin being, these are all the orders of days, and there's one for each section of the super universes, right? Okay, so the Trinity origin beings. Rodney, would you take that one?
Yes. 1, Trinitized secrets of supremacy. 2, eternals of days. 3, ancients of days. 4, perfections of days. 5, recents of days. 6, unions of days. 7, faithfuls of days. 8, Trinity teacher sons. 9, perfecters of wisdom. 10, divine counselors. 11, universal censors. 12, inspired Trinity spirits. 13, Havana natives. 14, paradise citizens.
Okay, and that lists all the Trinity origin beings. These were all came from the Paradise Trinity, right? And y'all remember, do y'all remember when would each one of these come from? Do you want me to go through them or not?
No,
Huh?
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay. All right, so let's move on. I do want to mention the perfecters of wisdom, divine counsels, and universal censors. Remember, that's the quartz system, right?
Mhm.
Right.
All right.
The infinite spirit.
Yep. All right. The sons of God. Let's go on to the next one. Jane, would you take that? The sons of God and the list underneath that.
Okay. 8 descending sons. 1 creator sons, Michaels. 2 magisterial sons, Avanals. 3 Trinity teacher sons, Danos. 4 Melchizedek sons. 5 Verondadek sons. 6 Lenanondek sons. 7 light carrier sons.
Okay, so remember the first 3 are sons, the descending sons, are paradise sons, right? The creator, the magisterial, and the Trinity teacher sons, the Michaels, Avonals, and Danos. The rest of them from there down are all local universe created sons. Okay, that's the difference in this list. So the first 3 are paradise sons, the last 4 are local universe created sons. So the Melchizedeks, Verondadeks, Lananondeks, and the life carriers are all created by Michael and the local universe mother spirit, and in the case of the life carriers, the ancients of days also, right? Okay, so those are all local units, and these are all descending sons of God. Why are they called descending? Because
They
come
they
to us.
They come down to us to help us out, right? All right, the next list is the ascending sons. Okay, Lech, would you take that list?
Okay. Yeah. Number 1, father fused mortals. Number 2, son fused mortals. 3, spirit fused mortals. 4, evolutionary seraphim. 5, ascending material sons. 6, translated midwayers. 7, personalized adjusters.
Okay, so we know that we are father fused mortals, right? And we know there's a whole vast of beings that are sun-fused mortals, and they stay in the local or the super universe, right? And the local universe, I'm sorry. The spirit-fused mortals will stay all the way up to the super universes, right? But they are ascending sons of God, but they're limited to the local and the super universe, right? Okay. Then we have the evolutionary seraphim. Why are they listed under ascending sons?
Because as you evolve, hopefully you get better and ascend spiritually.
You ascend spiritually, so the evolutionary seraphim ascends with us, right? So they eventually get up to paradise just like we do. They ascend to paradise. So that's why they're listed under the ascending sons. Now, the ascending material sons, these are interesting beings because they're considered descending sons to start out with. And then after they finish their mission as Adam and Eve's, then they turn around and become ascending sons just like we did, right? They're giving adjusters and they go through the ascension plan just like we do. That's all the material sons. Now, the translated midwayers, same way, right? They're considered descending sons in the fact that they come down to the planet and stay with the planet until we reach light and life, and then they're given adjusters and they start the ascension plan just like we do. And of course, personalized adjusters go through the ascension plan with us, right? When they're personal or given personality, they ascend up just like we do. All right.
Roger,
Trinity, yeah.
I got the impression just there in that group that we're kind of envied because we're an ascending mortal and we're ascending to God. And a lot of these beings are kind of, once I get done with this job, maybe I can get their job. Am I right there?
No, we will never have the job of like a material son or a guardian angel. Human beings, mortals do never become never ever become angels, regardless of all the movies you've seen where they tell you become angels when you get to paradise. The mansion world, you don't. Okay, we will never be angels. Angels is a separate class of being. So we will never graduate, become angels. We'll never graduate, become material sons of God, and we will never graduate to become midwayers ever. That's a separate order of being. Okay, so we are mortals. We start out mortals. We will turn into Urantia beings and spiritual beings, but will never be classified under anything other than ascending mortals. We will always carry that badge of ascending mortals, right? Okay. All right. Trinitized sons. Who was next here? I lost Jane, didn't I? Lech, didn't you just read? So let's have Gary read.
Yeah.
Did Gary just read? Gary just read. You're up again, dear.
Oh, I
Diane?
did read. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
See Trinitized sons. 1, mighty messengers. 2, those high in authority. 3, those without name and number. 4, Trinitized custodians. 5, Trinitized ambassadors. 6, celestial guardians. 7, high sun assistants. 8, ascender Trinitized sons. 9, paradise Havona Trinitized sons. 10, Trinitized sons of destiny.
Okay, under the Trinitized sons, the first 3 are mortals, right? Who have become Trinitized sons. All right, the others become Trinitized sons. And each one of them has a different way to do that, and I'm not going to go through each one of them. But remember, the mighty messengers, those high in authority, and those without name and number at one time were mortals just like we were. Okay? All right, personalities of the infinite spirit. Pam, would you take that one?
Higher personalities of the infinite spirit, solitary messengers, universe circuit supervisors, census directors, personal aides of the infinite spirit, associate inspectors, assigned sentinels, graduate guides.
Okay, and all of these beings are created by the infinite spirit for service of the infinite spirit, and that's all they'll ever do. They'll always be associated with service with the infinite spirit. All right. Messenger hosts of space. Rodney, would you take that one?
Yes. 1. Havana servitors. 2. Universal conciliators. 3. Technical advisors. 4. Custodians of records on paradise. 5. Celestial recorders. 6. Urantia companions. 7. Paradise companions.
Now, all these beings are listed under messenger host of space, some of them because they bring the message of God to us, okay, like the Urantia companions, the paradise companions, and then the others have other jobs that are messenger service for the host of space, really, okay? All right, we're about out of time here. Let's tell you what, let's do. Let's stop there and we'll take that up on ministering spirits next time. Okay. All right, let's say a little prayer and we'll quit for tonight. Sweetie, do you feel like praying?
I will.
Okay.
Father, thank you for this opportunity to learn and study all the various creatures created and all the amazing positions and jobs and the value of what they have done and are doing to continue this journey throughout forever. I wish my mind could accept everything and remember everything systematically, but I feel a little overwhelmed, but I'm grateful that we have reviewed it and that some things are locked into my consciousness, and hopefully when we make our transition, we will be able to adapt to our new surroundings and our new circumstances. We thank you for this information. We thank you for the opportunity to gather together and to learn. In your name, Christ Michael, we pray and give thanks. Amen.
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 Amen.